Hey everybody, welcome to July 2nd Kingdom Chronicles Volume 1 from Pastor Reginald Rice. I apologize, this is coming out so late. It's Sunday, and Sunday is kind of like the Bermuda Triangle of time at my house on Sunday. We're all doing things after church, like taking naps in shifts, multiple naps, everybody. And then like swim, and it doesn't matter. We made it here. So, and today the devotional is called Do Something Different. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. Philippians 4 has a lot of good, memorable scripture in it. I definitely advise you to go read it. The main takeaway I got from Pastor Rice's writing here is, when we're looking at other people, the people who inspire us to want to be better, when we're reading about people in the Bible who are, we consider important leaders, or, part of the patriarchal family of fathers and things like that. And even outside of religious life, just in life in general, people who you may look up to, your mentors, your teachers, your adults in your life, what made them memorable is that they did something different. They broke a barrier. They either accomplished something that was very different than other people, or they accomplished something in a very different way. And that allowed them to step into the role that they are in, where they have the ability to influence other people. So, like I said, if we look at it biblically, Jesus was doing something very different than what other Jewish leaders were doing in the day. Now, that's not to say there weren't other Jewish leaders who were doing similar things to Jesus. He was not the only person that was considered a rebel, but he was one of them. And so were all the leaders in the Bible. David, you look at all of the things he did. I mean, he was a little brother. He came out there and was just like, I'm gonna fight this giant. Everything he did, he just went out, he just did it. And people were often so caught up in rules and regulations, but David came from a place tending sheep where as much rule as you can possibly have, you need to be able to act on a dime, and you need to be flexible, and you need to understand who you are, who your flock and family are, and who the outside or the enemy or whatever, anyone that is not working with you. Okay, so when we look at ourselves, are we asking ourselves, what am I doing different in my life? Not to say that I'm trying to do something better than somebody else, or that I'm even competing with anybody else. I usually only will compete against myself for things. But when we do it, what are we bringing to the activity? And when we go, I'm sorry for the squeaking, my dog is having the squeaks. Hey, go lay down. I don't like that. Come here. And so, when we're asking ourselves, what can I do that is different, that is going to change the game for me and for those around me, we can look to the figures that have come before us, where we draw our inspiration. That isn't to say that there's never a time to have some order and uniformity. But how you do things, even, the enthusiasm that you bring to the table can be very important. And if you make even the small changes every day, eventually those small changes are going to show a very big difference. So I hope that each of us can find it in ourselves to examine, what is it that makes this person who I look up to, what did they do differently than other people who have done the same thing, or other people who are similar to them that haven't done the same thing? And what did they do differently that got them to where they are? And what can I change in my life in order to do it differently? With the understanding, as a Christian, that God has orchestrated our lives to be for our lives to include the tools and the people that we need to get to where we need to be. We just have to take advantage of those situations, those tools. We have to take the time to learn from what happened to us. Otherwise, we're just going through things over and over and over again. So then when we choose to do something different and learn from the process, we are able to move forward. And it's like that every single time we make the choice to do something different, to move forward. We do that with knowing that God has given us the tools, and what we have to do is have the faith that we can just start walking forward and doing the different thing, and that things are going to change. Because once you change, things change in response. So I hope that, and even if you're not religious, look at people in your field. Look at people who do things similar to you. When, if you're an architect, people who have, it's not always people who have the most busy architecture or the cleanest lines. It's somebody who is using their abilities to create something that is just different from what everyone else has seen. And it may be somewhere in between. It may be at an extreme, one end or the other, or multiple ends, when you're looking at design. So it could be anything. And that's the beauty of it, is that as long as it is different, it's going to catch somebody's eye. And you can then be that inspiration that drives forward innovation and that spirit of completion and renewal and starting something fresh, where again you will be able to do something different, relying on the power that is inside. For me as a Christian, the power of Christ that's inside of me, to push forward, push through the pain, push through the fact that I may have done something wrong. Just because I did something wrong, or in the wrong way, I failed at it, I should say, doesn't mean that it's not something that needs to be done, or it's not something that I can do. It just means that I may need to do it a different way, or I may have not completed some steps, and so I need to go back and figure out what it is and do something different so that I can succeed. I really like this, and I will usually try to get these out earlier in the day, but I got a bad brain, and I'm just thankful that I can get it done every day. So that for me is going to be the challenge, is do this every single day for the month, and and that's my challenge. And sometimes I do that with myself. So I encourage you, challenge yourself to do something. And if you fail, try to understand why, so that you can challenge yourself to do it again in a different way, with the faith that you can do this. It's not that it's too difficult, it's that you haven't found the way for you to do it. So I hope that that's helpful. God bless. Have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow in the morning.